Itauma Sports Talk worldwide with some news from the world of boxing. So y'all know what time it is. You ain't in a rush to get concussed. Now we got a decent weekend of fighting coming up. A decent weekend of fighting. In the heavyweight division, you got a couple of fights. Filip Hrgović versus David Itauma. Then you have, which is going to be a good fight. Filip Hrgović is here to prove, that he's the Filip Hrgović that we know, that he wasn't doing that well when he lost against your boy Daniel Dubois. He's only got one loss. Filip Hrgović was a boogeyman. I think he still is. I think Filip Hrgović beats the bulk of the heavyweight division. So he's going to come try to make a statement by knocking David Itauma the hell out. But let's see. Itauma can show something too by saying, I'm in the mix all of a sudden. So that's kind of a big fight in the heavyweight division. One of the top 10 fights, especially I think Filip Hrgović is on the, they got him about number 6, which I think he should be in front of Anthony Joshua. If Anthony Joshua and Filip Hrgović fought, I think I would go with Filip Hrgović, but I think they have Anthony Joshua still in front of him, so I think he's number 6. Good fight. But the fight that we want to see this weekend, you want to see when a heavyweight prospect that we all think it's going to be something, the Jared Andersons of the world. And then when it comes to British, it's got to be Moses Itauma. He's on everybody's radar. And he's about to fight Dillian Whyte, the body snatcher Whyte, Mr. Left Hook from Hell, who hasn't been looking great. He's on the tail end of his career, and Dillian Whyte wants to prove something. The word has it that he's been in Portugal handling his business, wants to show that no, it's a little bit too early for Moses Itauma. Moses Itauma has the pressure of getting rid of Dillian Whyte, because they think he's the second coming of Mike Tyson. He almost got that record for Mike Tyson. And let me tell you something. If Daniel Dubois, with that IBF title, would have fought Moses Itauma, in May to get the record, what you think? What you think? I think he gives Daniel Dubois hell, even 6 months ago. I think you guys do too. So I think he could have broke the record if he would have been given the shot. But okay, whatever. You know what I mean? But, he's the favorite against your boy. So here's the thing we're going to talk about. Who we roll with here? We roll with Joseph Parker, y'all. Joseph Parker, him and Agit Kabayel are the most informed heavyweights we got right now. Both of them are coming off of 3 great wins. And Joseph Parker is sitting in the wings for the excuse me, y'all, for the WBO. Sitting in the wings. Now, Alexander Usyk has asked for extension for the negotiations because he's not feeling well or whatever. I think, like I said before, I don't want to see Moses Itauma, providing he beats Dillian Whyte, versus Joseph Parker for the WBO title, fighting for the vacant title. I don't want to see that. Now remember, fighting for the vacant title. I don't have a problem with Joseph Parker versus Moses Itauma, right? And here's why. If Alexander Usyk vacates the title, right, the WBO title, then I want them to give it to Joseph Parker. Like Canelo Alvarez was just given the WBC title for the 168 pounds division, would not even have to fight for it. Remember, things have been given. And for a lot of, Boots Ennis got a title that was just given to him, right? Although when the person vacates and stuff like that, then the title can be just given. When they made up that franchise title, just give a franchise title to a couple of people, and stuff like that. So I think the reason why I don't want to use given like that is because Joseph Parker has earned it, as opposed to just being the next guy up. He's earned it with big wins. Everybody ain't beating Deontay Wilder when he did it. Everybody ain't beating Sheila Shane when he did it. You know what I mean? And everybody ain't beating Martin Bakole, right? Now, Bakole, on short notice, hey, when these fighters gain 50 pounds between fights, then I don't know if you're supposed to call them fighters. I mean, they can fight, but it's supposed to be a certain amount of discipline. Damn, 50? So he was big when he came in the fight and wasn't ready, didn't have a training camp. And training camps are important for a high profile, a professional fight. So we're going to give him that. But it's still a win over Martin Bakole. He still doesn't forget how to box just because he didn't have a training camp. So those are 3 big wins for Joseph Parker. And here's something else. What do we got? We got empathy here. We always talk about empathy. If you were Joseph Parker, right, and you were supposed to be next up for that fight. You were having a fight against Daniel Dubois, and he pulls out in the last week, right? You would be upset about that. Damn, you put out in the last week. And then Daniel Dubois was able to go in and fight Usyk without, fighting Joseph Parker. Now, from Daniel Dubois' point of view, it's like, hey, man, it was not a mandatory. It was just a voluntary anyway. So I ain't like, I got to do it. But if you're Joseph Parker, you're like, damn, you went in, damn, I went to a training camp. I fought Martin Bacoli. You could have just said, hey, we're fighting 6 weeks later. We could have did that in England 6 weeks later, but you didn't. So you go in there, and then you go in here against Alexander Usyk and don't make a good counter yourself. I think I would have did better than that against Usyk, and I would have beat you. So this is what, from Joseph Parker's perspective, who we're talking about now. Now, Joseph Parker, how we know him, won't complain about this because he doesn't. That's why he's Joseph Parker. That's why we roll with him. He's not going to even complain about this, right? Now, Joseph Parker, for those who follow him, he got a loss against Anthony Joshua. After that fight, had a whole lot to complain about, but didn't. I had to do his complaining. Damn it, an Italian dude doing the damn fight, refereeing the damn fight, Italian dude refereeing the fight. They can't speak English. Why would you do that with two English-speaking dudes? And then he kept them away from each other. Break. Didn't let them do no inside fighting, and it was still a close fight. Joseph Parker could have complained, but he doesn't. He takes the high road, and so Itauma got to do it for him. That's ridiculous. That's outrage. Then he fights Dillian Whyte. The Dillian Whyte, the body snatcher, in his best time, Dillian Whyte, right? They have a fight. Dillian Whyte headbutts him in round 2. A round Dillian Whyte was losing, headbutts him, and Joseph Parker falls, right? And we didn't go back and replay to see that it was a headbutt, so he got a 10-8 round for Dillian Whyte that he was losing. It would have been a 10-9 round for Joseph Parker, turned into a 10-8 for Dillian Whyte. So do we know that Joseph Parker wasn't concussed the rest of the fight? He was hit by a left hook, I think around 9 or something, and got knocked down, which I think was first knockdown in Joseph Parker's career there. And then comes back, and the last 2 rounds beat the living daylights out of Dillian Whyte, where Dillian Whyte wanted to stop the fight, basically. If the fight, Dillian Whyte was glad that fight ended because he was basically knocked out on his feet. Joseph Parker loses a close decision. And who would have won it if he wouldn't have got a headbutt in round 2 and a 10-8 round. Now, didn't complain about that. Itauma had to do that. Right? Those are things, that's how your boy Joseph Parker takes the high road because he knows he's pretty good. But at the end of the day, you're getting older. These opportunities ain't going to keep coming. And I think that he beats Dillian Whyte and Anthony Joshua in a rematch. And I think he should have got credit for beating him in that fight. If a different referee, he beats Anthony Joshua in that fight. But if they would have just replayed the headbutt, he beats Dillian Whyte in that fight. Right? Now, Joe Joyce is the only one that I say, oh, that dude beat him. Joe Joyce, man, that juggernaut was taking all kind of punches. And he just was resilient and beat him. But everything else, I got little complaints. I would have complained. That's the difference between me and Joseph Parker. Joseph Parker ain't complaining about nothing. He should be complaining about Daniel Dubois. And so with this no complaining, taking the high road, we're not here. If Alexander Usyk vacates the title, WBO title, then it should be given to Joseph Parker. But he should still have to fight Itauma if Itauma beats Dillian Whyte, right? Then it's okay. But as Joseph Parker has the title, reason why he can say he's a 2-time heavyweight champion, which he deserves to say. That's my point. Then fight your boy Itauma for the title. No problem with that at all. Not that he should go and say, okay, I can have another tune-up or something for Itauma. No, that's all right. That's all right. Then fight Itauma, but as the champion. Can you guys follow that one? Pretty easy. Joseph Parker should be, if Usyk vacates his title, Joseph Parker should be able to call himself a 2-time heavyweight champion. It's pretty simple. Itauma Sports Talk Worldwide. And we up out of here, y'all.